Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. Everybody understands for a country's safety, you need an army. If you can't defend yourself, then very quickly you'll be taken over, and there will be no country. And therefore, who wants to be part of that weak place? Now, this is something that everybody understands, at least till recently there was something that everybody understands. You need an army. The same idea is you need a border, right? Without a border, how do you have a country? A different nation could just come in and then just take over because they become the majority, or they become a big minority and they just forcefully take over. So you understand, you need an army, you need a border, but people don't realize that it's not just that. There are many things. You need to have kids. Not only that, you need to have a lot of kids. Certainly you can't just stay around the same or slightly keep getting less, you understand? The normal amount of kids is 1, maybe 2, max 3, and that's it, you understand? So which means that you're staying around the same, if probably getting slowly less and less, but you understand? So you see, you need to have kids. Now, Hashem has created this world in an amazing way that the biggest blessing, the biggest bracha in life, the biggest happiness in life is good kids. You understand? That is the biggest blessing. So that requires you to work in yourself, to be in a good community, v'chule, act. But that is the biggest blessing in life, so anybody should want that. And today we see that the youth, so much of it has been brainwashed, which is not to have kids, and kids are bad, and it's just downhill from when you have a child. The few people that actually have a little bit of humanity left in them and are having kids, they're maybe having 1, 2, max 3, 4 is already like, wow. You understand? While you have these people coming from, I don't know, from like third world countries, having endless amounts of kids, and so you see that there's an issue here. How did you see that? This ideology that's making people, girls for sure, but boys as well, having them have this ideology that kids are not a blessing, is something just shocking. You understand? And very detrimental. And not just that it's detrimental, it's not true. Kids are the biggest blessing in life. You understand? Good kids. You understand? So, and you could have good kids. It just requires you to be a good person, to live amongst good people. It's not rocket science. You understand? Don't send them to bad schools. You understand? Today that usually means you have to send them to private school, which even many of those are not good, and you have to homeschool them. And not everybody is rich, so they can't do it. But you get your neighbors together. You get people together. On your block, you have many kids, and so you could create your own little one, which is all legal. You understand, and that way it could be affordable for you. So, and I'm sure there's rich people that would love to help, especially kids. So this is, doable. It's a bit of creativity. You have to be a bit driven. It has to be something important to you for you to go through all that to do it. You understand? But is it possible? Absolutely. Is it the biggest blessing, bracha in life? Absolutely. Nothing better than having your kids, your kids, your grandkids, good ethical people getting married to good spouses. You teach them how to what a good spouse is, and you teach them to be a good spouse. There's no bigger blessing in life. That is the biggest bracha. You have your little grandkids come up and you spend time with them. What could be better? What could be better? You understand? So, this is another part of having a healthy country, and I would say it's literally like it should be considered ideologies that ruin the natural good desire of people to have kids and to look at that as good and to bring them up good. Ideologies and people and systems as 501c3s that go against that should be looked at as an enemy of the state, as an enemy of the country, and should be completely, abolished, and whatever legal ramifications to the people that do it and run it. You understand? Just like if you have a terrorist that's planning to have a bomb, this is not exactly a bomb, but it's something that's even more damaging. Just look at all the youth today. So many of them indoctrinized. Completely, the brains is not working in a healthy way. So, this is, a security. This is literally, national security of a country to have kids. You understand? And today you could have you could have a couple that unfortunately it didn't work out, and they were together before, and they could have even having a few kids, and now she's pregnant, and and then she gets divorced, and then she does abortion to that child as if she's peeling a cucumber, while they're cutting up the child, inside into pieces, and then they vacuum it out. I don't know exactly. They get those pieces out, and it's a bit of a dangerous procedure, because if they miss something, the mother could be damaged severely. But think about that child. What's happening to that child? Her child literally being cut up inside of her. Like, you would think that if there's any, a mother, to protect her child, a child's in the house about to fall the stairs, she comes and grabs him, right? What's the place that is the most protected place for a child is in the home of the mother. When they go outside, now there's streets and there's cars, but the mother's there, she's watching, but it's not as protective. You understand? And that's part of a child's development, that you slowly let him go out and you teach him how to be a man, how to be a woman. You understand? But when a child, the most protective is in the house. What's more protective of a child than in the house is in the mother's womb. That's like the most protected place. Parents of old would fight that nothing should happen to their dear child that was inside. And today, people are going and paying exorbitant prices to have their child cut up, which inside the womb should be the most protected place of a child. And it's shocking, absolutely shocking. And ideologies that go against this right, this right and wrong, this right, this goodness cannot be allowed because of national security. You understand? You have all these other countries, first of all, because it's right, and they're killing they're literally the most protective place. Look what they're doing to their child. But even in a country understanding, you have all these other countries that they have people that are coming in from other places that have not been indoctrinated, at least not yet, into these ideas, and they come in and they're trying to maximize how many kids they could have, and and they're overpopulate. They just overpopulate the people that are indigenous to the land, and the people indigenous to the land just they stand no chance. Meaning those people, they come in, they become legal. A lot of countries allow them to be legal. If they're not legal, then their kids become automatically legal, or however it works. But they're there and they just overpopulate, and they take over. And there's nothing that the only this is another way of a country invading. There's invading with an army. There's invading. There's different ways to invade, and then there's invading by just simply coming in, legalizing yourself there, and then overpopulating, just having kids, and the other ones are not. They're staying around the same. If anything, they're slowly getting less and less, and that's it. You take over. You understand? That's what's happening. Look at Gaza. When the Israelis gave Gaza to them, there were like 300,000 people. Now there's 6 million. During this war, this unfortunate war, how many? They've had like 70,000 kids. You understand? Think about that. So this is just absolutely fascinating what is happening, and that we should understand that when God says to not kill, he has so many reasons. But it's when God gives his laws, it's not just spiritually for the next world. It somehow affects the upper worlds, and that's why you should do it. It's not just that. God's laws are yasha, they're straight, and they actually protect us and save our countries and save our communities in this world. And God says that killing a baby inside the stomach is considered killing. It is considered killing. And God wants people, right? It says peruvu, literally in the Bible, in the Torah, it says peruvu. He says go out and multiply. When God gives us these advices, it's not just so I should get the next world. We don't know why he says it. No. There's meaning throughout all the worlds, all the way down to ours. And it's important. And we should, of course, to the biggest of our extent, go out and figure out the importance in our world, in the next world, the upper worlds, understand things a bit. We have something called the Sefer HaChinuch, and he does that for us. He takes each mitzvah and shows us how in our world that mitzvah makes a difference. It's important. You understand? This is amazing. This is something that's so important for us to understand, and really to begin to understand and to go in the ways of God, and to realize his wisdom is nothing, is in no way comparable to ours. His wisdom is just absolutely next level. He is understanding the goodness of it, not just in the upper worlds, but it's a goodness that goes through all the worlds and is throughout all of time. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.